It's so cool to get to see you on Zoom. We met in person. Gosh, it's been almost 2 years ago, I guess, in a pizza place in lovely Swanano, which quite a few people on the call will know. They're part of the Asheville team, part of the
Yeah,
mentees, the mentor group.
sure.
And so it was great to see kind of a lunch and learn over pizza, a
Yeah,
humble little place in Swananoa, but what a connection, man. It's great to see you.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that was our probably most stressful lunch and learn. We had Shannon Pyatt was the one that scouted the location because he was living in Marion, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, there's people ordering right behind us. How are we gonna do this?" But you make lemons with lemonade, and it worked out fine. But I've had this is my second stab at growing in Asheville because my wife and I are moving there, and we have a house in Black Mountain.
Sweet. I knew about
And
the Black Mountain house, dude. That's exciting.
yeah,
Tell me about that journey from the early days when Rich was thinking, man, this appraisal thing is, I mean, I should maybe think about being an agent. And then the journey from appraiser to agent and how that kind of grew.
yeah, it grew by a move from Florida to North Carolina. So I was an appraiser in Florida in Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County, and South Florida. And when I moved to North Carolina in May of 2005, I was kind of at a crossroads where I was going to continue and get a new appraisal license here, or I was going to go into the sales side. And I was kind of reflecting on what the last 6 or 7 years looked like, and I always felt like I drove the worst car to the appointment. There was always somebody in a Mercedes with the air conditioning on that didn't get out of the car, that didn't provide comps, that didn't have any liability from the sense that an appraiser does, and that was going to make $20,000 on that house sale, and I was going to make $350. So I had about a 40-second epiphany, and I said, "Listen, I'm on the wrong side of this business." So I got my real estate license in 2006, and then I did nothing with it initially, and then I hung it in December of 2006 with Remax. And there's an advantage of being an appraiser in the sense that it's not all green to me. I have very good fundamental understanding about a part of the business that most real estate agents never gain understanding in.
Right.
But it didn't help me pay my bills. I mean, I had zero experience in sales. I was petrified of talking to strangers and getting rejected all the time. The internet was not this robust machine that it is now. I mean, I literally had the white pages, a BlackBerry, and a yellow pad,
Oh,
and I was in North Carolina with no friends, no acquaintances. I didn't even know my neighbors yet. So anyway, so it was a daunting task, and what I decided to do, I asked the owner of Remax what advice they would give me, the same exact question,
yeah.
and she said, "You list to last.
Yep.
You should be a listing
Success
agent."
clue.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, if you think about leverage, you can only work one set of buyers at a time, right? I mean, unless you're going to work two different couples and look at two different price ranges and they're going to get along and sit in your back seat, it's going to be very difficult. So you're trying to scale a hero all the time. And with listings, I was able to manage up to 72 listings was my maximum by myself.
Wow.
So you can leverage a lot of listings. I probably should have had an assistant at the time, but I was, locked within this immature brain of being in my late 20s and early 30s when I was experiencing this. So anyway, we realized that our bandwidth is much better. So I started to think about which ways I would get listings, and I didn't go to church at the time, so that was going to be an outlet. My sphere of influence was zero. I wasn't even on Facebook. Social media didn't exist to unless you were in college, right? So I was pretty much caught down to prospecting. I had no choice. So even lead generation was hard to buy leads. You could run ads, you could farm neighborhoods, but lead generation, the way that we know it today, was different then. So I started calling people um, in the white pages,
Mm.
and I
Oh,
was using forsalebyorowner.com and fsbo.com and owners.com, and I was using the blend between the two of them. Every time I would strike out multiple times on one, I would shift to the other, and I was butchering the phone calls. The best part about the phone call that I had was I would be able to introduce myself, and everything would go downhill from there.
Oh,
And
man.
yeah, it was really rough. And I at some point found I remember my client. He was a Romanian guy. His name was Daniel Zrempton, and he had built two $800,000 houses side by side about a mile from my office. And he was open to talking to me. So I went over there and I pitched him on being a listing agent for him. And I think my pitch was something like, listen, I'll set up a tent outside and personally hand flyers in the cars, but I have zero business and I cannot go home at 5 o'clock with zero business. This is my first week in the business. I need to make something work. I used to be an appraiser. I can tell you what your house is worth. I know all the marketing materials, but these are my limitations. The positivities that I would have, hi, Julie, the positivities that I would have would be I would work cheaper. I took a
Yeah.
5% listing and that I would be accessible to one client. And it worked. And I sold both houses and that built instantaneous confidence.
Yeah.
And
2 $800,000 homes, boom,
yep,
boom,
in a
back to
week.
back.
Yep, at 2% each. And then at that point, I started to make that a daily discipline.